I'm going to invite you to put your paper down because I'm going to read our gospel today from the Message. The Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. When Jesus got word that John had been arrested, he returned to Galilee. He moved from his hometown Nazareth to the lakeside village Capernaum, nestled at the base of the Zebulun and Naphtali hills. This move completed Isaiah's sermon. Land of Zebulun, land of Naphtali, road to the sea, over Jordan, Galilee, crossroads for the nations. People sitting out their lives in the dark saw a huge light. Sitting in that dark country of death, they watched the sun coming up. This Isaiah prophesied sermon came to life in Galilee the moment Jesus started preaching. He picked up where John left off. Change your life. God's kingdom is here. Walking along the beach of Lake Galilee, Jesus saw two brothers, Simon, later called Peter, and Andrew. They were fishing, throwing their nets into the lake. It was their regular work. Jesus said to them, "Come with me. I'll make a new kind of fisherman out of you. I'll show you how to catch men and women instead of perch and bass." They didn't ask questions, but simply dropped their nets and followed. A short distance down the beach, they came upon another pair of brothers, James and John, Zebedee's sons. The two were sitting in a boat with their father, Zebedee, mending their fish nets. Jesus made the same offer to them, and they were just as quick to follow, abandoning boat and father. From there, Jesus went all over Galilee. He used synagogues for meeting places and taught people the truth of God. God's kingdom was his theme. That beginning right now, they were under God's government, a good government. He also healed people of their disease and of the bad effects of their bad lives. Word got around the entire Roman province of Syria. People brought anybody with an ailment, whether mental, emotional, or physical. Jesus healed them, one and all. More and more people came. The momentum gathered. Besides those from Galilee, crowds came from the 10 towns across the lake, others up from Jerusalem and Judea, still others from across the Jordan. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Christ. Please be seated. Grace and peace to you on this day, from God our Father and our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. I love this passage because there's so much going on in it. And because there's so much going on, we might choose several different ways to go or enter into this story. You have this sermon of Isaiah from long ago, that the light has come. That the people who were walking in darkness have now been shined upon. If you paid attention to the fog in the last day or so, it's so hard to see, shadows everywhere, that cloudiness, and hopefully, I know it's supposed to rain later, but if the sun peeks out, you know how that fog just burns away and vaporizes, and you can see once more. We could enter this story there. Or we could enter the story through Jesus' preaching, that the kingdom has come. That God's good government, as the Message translated, has arrived. That sounds like good news. That he's taking over where John left off, that the baton has been passed, that the word is getting out. We could enter this story there. We could enter this story from all the healing that's taking place. This one and that one, and crowds assembling around him, and each of them. A life changed, whether a physical or emotional or maybe even a spiritual thing, weighing them down, uplifted. Another place to enter this great story. But where I want to go today with you, if you'll explore with me a little bit, is moving from the general to the specific. That all of these things kind of gather around that way. That it's great that light has come, but unless you see it for yourself, unless your shadows have been eliminated. It's just a nice idea, right? Or to say that God's kingdom has arrived also sounds like a wonderful plan. But unless that kingdom has reached you and is active in your life through that same invitation Jesus offers here, maybe it doesn't mean that much. Or what about this healing that's taken place? Wouldn't you love to be with Jesus so he could touch your life in a real powerful way? And maybe you have experienced that in some real powerful way. It's different, isn't it? To move from the general to the specific. You know what this is like? I think we can say universally, we hope that parents love their children. We know that's not always true, unfortunately. But we can say in general, what's supposed to happen is that parents love their children. But it's different when you look your own kid in the eye, when they're anxious, when they are full of despair, when they've really messed things up. And you say to them, I love you, no matter what. That's different, isn't it? From the general to the specific. It's good to say that people are welcome to join us in this ministry. A word that goes around in lots of churches is that people say, all are welcome. And I hope we live that out in a real way. But maybe it makes sense to actually say what we mean by that. What does it mean, really, that all are welcome? To get a little specific. I saw this article, actually, that Pastor Swenson had posted on Facebook. It was from NPR. It was about the Coventry Cathedral in England. I've told you a little bit about that before. It's this big church in Coventry that was bombed out in World War II. And in the bombing, in the aftermath of it, the beams had fallen down in the shape of a cross. And the pastor who came in there the next morning after that saw that, took it as a sign that this ministry needs to continue. And as they rebuilt the church, they left the ruins and built a new church on the other side and decided who we are going to be are people of reconciliation for the rest of the world. Pretty cool. But in this article, this person had stumbled upon their welcome statement. A lot more specific than all are welcome. I want to read it to you because I think it's pretty great. Here it is. So if you go to Coventry Cathedral, you can find this. I was trying to find a picture of it, but I couldn't. But anyway, it says, we extend a special welcome to those who are single, married, divorced, widowed, straight, gay, confused, well-heeled, or down at heel. We welcome especially wailing babies and excited toddlers. We welcome you whether you can sing like Pavarotti or just growl quietly to yourself. You're welcome here if you're just browsing, just woke up, or just got out of prison. We don't care if you're more Christian than the Archbishop of Canterbury or haven't been to church since Christmas 10 years ago. We extend a special welcome to those who are over 60 but not grown up yet and teenagers who are growing up too fast. We welcome keep fit moms, football dads, starving artists, tree huggers, latte sippers, vegetarians, junk food eaters. We welcome those who are in recovery or still addicted. We welcome you if you're having problems, are down in the dumps, or don't like organized religion. We're not that keen on it either. We offer welcome to those who think the earth is flat, work too hard, don't work, can't spell, or are here because Granny is visiting and wanted to come to the cathedral. We welcome those who are inked, pierced, both, or neither. We offer a special welcome to those who could use a prayer right now, had religion shoved down their throats as kids, or got lost on the ring road and wound up here by mistake. We welcome pilgrims, tourists, seekers, doubters, and you. I like that. I particularly like the part about organized religion. We're not that keen on it either. I love it. It's great. But there's lots of good parts to it, isn't there? Moving from the general to the specific. Jesus comes and offers to these disciples and to all of us to come and follow. He does it in a very specific way. These are fisher people. They're out working. He uses the metaphor they know as they're mending their own nets. Come with me, and you can fish for people. Men and women, kids. People are confused. They're not keen on organized religion either. Come with me and find out. It's not just some people. You know exactly who they are. It's Peter, and it's Andrew, and it's James, and it's John, and it's you, and it's me. From the general to the specific. Go and fish for people. I wonder sometimes if we get caught up, not to use a bad pun, but get caught up in trying to be welcoming versus actually inviting people, moving from something general to the specific. I mean, I'd love to create kind of a welcome statement like this. We could work on it, come up with some fun little puns as well. But do we actually go invite folks? I mean, I'm not suggesting we cold call or go knock on doors that people we don't know or send postcards in the mail. I mean, maybe we do that, but most people don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But what about the people that we know? People who have shared their dark shadows with us. People that we know are caught up in something. Our friends, our neighbors, our family members, our coworkers, our classmates. What would that look like? I listened to a number of podcasts. One I listened to is by Tom Rainer, he runs this kind of research and consulting group. And one of the studies that they did, it's called Lifeway, one of the studies they did is they wanted to find out how many churches in the United States are invited. He used the word evangelistic, but the way they define that is if each person in the church invited one person a year. That's not a high threshold. They did a study, so they looked at, Baptist churches, he's a Baptist, evangelical churches, mainline churches, some Lutheran ones in the mix, all kinds of churches across the board. And they came up with the number that only 6% of them are. And you wonder why the church feels like it's in decline, right? I mean, if we're not actually inviting folks to come join us, how could we expect them to just waltz through the door? But then they found out this information too, which I also thought was very, very interesting. So then they went around and found people that didn't go to church at all, weren't connected, and they asked them, if somebody you knew invited you to church, not saying you're going to join the church council or run a committee or be put in charge of an outreach thing, but just if you would come once, would you come? And their findings were 8 out of 10 people would say yes. So if a friend invited them to come, 8 out of 10 would come, and 6% of us do that. That's a little bit of a disconnect in the specific, isn't it? We have room to grow, I think. Moving from the general to the specific. I mean, we want to say that we're welcoming. We want to say that we can be more inviting. We want to say that we're the light in the world, and we try to do that in specific ways, don't we? I mean, we run certain things. We run a homework club, and we connect with the soup kitchen, and we do prayer shawls, and we're doing this thing with the homeless now that we're getting up for, and this blood drive. I mean, those are very specific things that we do to try to connect with others. But is there more to it than that, perhaps? I mean, this weekend was a very interesting weekend, if you paid attention to the news at all, culminating after what has really been a year and a half of just tumultuous times, hasn't it? Hasn't it been that way? What I've come to understand, because I've been thinking about this a lot in the last few days and weeks and months, is it's not so much that there is a bubble. It's that everybody kind of lives in their own bubble. And perhaps we only talk to the people that are like us, and maybe that's really the problem. I've been trying to think about this as I watched both footage from the inauguration and some of the gatherings that were happening yesterday, rallies and marches. Not to have an answer, but just to think through it a little bit. What would it look like to actually try to engage in a specific way? rather than in a general. Because in a general way, it's very easy to say, oh, I like this and I don't like that, and I love these ideas and I hate these ideas, and I like these people and I don't like these people. That's very general, but if it gets specific to people with stories, and if we're called to be the light, if we're called to fish for people, maybe the place to engage one another is to listen a little bit more. I mean, I was thinking about this. If I lived in the Rust Belt somewhere and the economy was wrecked and there hadn't been jobs in over 20 years and every politician that promised there would be hasn't followed through, I might be open to listen to somebody else in a way that I hadn't been before. Or if I really thought that only the people that are in the Washington circle really run things, I might be a lot more open to listen to an outsider and think about what they might bring to the table. And I thought about, in another way, that when people say words, that words matter. And if I felt threatened by the words that were being spoken, I might want to get out and shout. Especially if I felt threatened and the ones around me felt threatened. And I thought to myself, what if we listen to those stories a little bit more? Not to say you're wrong and I'm right and this is the way we should do it, but to value them specifically and listen. I was gone for a few days this week and flew back on Friday. I wrote up a little thing on some of my observations in the Baltimore airport. You can look at that later. But I was thinking before any of this that maybe I would stop in Baltimore and try to change my flight, because my cousin, who lives in Washington, D.C., was going to the march, and I thought that might just be kind of a neat thing to experience. And I started looking at how to do that, and since I was doing it through the ELCA, I just didn't want to deal with all that red tape, so it's not worth it, I'm just going to go home. And then I thought, okay, there's something going on in Hartford. It might be interesting to go there and see the people there. I might know some people there. That could be interesting, and see the people that have gathered. And it seemed like quite a few people had gathered also in Hartford yesterday. But where it came down to it is I saw something was happening here in Old Saybrook. And I said to myself, I live here. This is where I need to be. So I went to the Green yesterday afternoon, and I came with a listening ear. I mean, I could have made a sign, I didn't. I could have shouted the things I'm angry about. I didn't want to do that. Not that people that did that were wrong by any means, but I just decided to go and observe and listen and just try to interact a little bit. And what I saw is, yeah, people had created signs, some very, very specific. But there was also this great atmosphere of people trying to connect to each other. And there was actually a little joy in that, feeling some mutual support. And there were a few people that actually were telling their stories and what that looked like. And I appreciated that very much. Jesus calls us to enter into the shadows and the darkness because the light has come. Jesus is that light. We are a part of that, especially when we don't have the answers. But isn't that the great gift of what being around Jesus is? We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to have it all figured out. We just receive that invitation to come. Be a part of it. And at least for me, on this day, thinking of all we've been through in the last year or so and where we might go as a people and as a congregation, I just think it's okay to say we don't know. But it's also to say we know what we have. And what we have is the light of Jesus that has arrived, that calls you and me specifically, that calls your name. Come and be forgiven and be healed and join in this new administration of God that has come among us. To think about entering there and to know that we are a part of it, whatever that means, but that we can do it together.